We come in peace, or do the aliens have another agenda? In 1977, at Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota, Mario Woods had the most terrifying experience of his life. It all started around 10:45 p.m. when security alarms indicated that silo November 5 had been breached from the exterior. This was considered level 4, a very serious threat. Ellsworth is part of our northern tier defense system, which consists of hundreds of nukes. As member of the security team respond, Woods and Michael Johnson, the team leader of security, were ordered then to investigate. The silo was not far from the base, so they got into their truck with Johnson driving. They take highway number 79 to investigate what was happening at the silo. As they headed toward it, the sky illuminated as if the sun had just come out from behind a cloud. As they got closer, they saw this huge 200-foot spear-shaped craft hovering just a few feet above the nuke silo. Johnson was petrified, frozen in time like he was catatonic. When Woods yelled at Johnson, he got no response, just Johnson staring at the huge UFO. Woods was having trouble breathing. He then gets out his mag light and flashed it at the UFO. For some strange reason, he gets his breath back, but he started to slumping down into his seat, then blacked out. Wood was suddenly awakened by a blast from his radio. The security team from the base was calling. Woods attempts to wake up Johnson, but he was still not responding. The security team asked Woods where he was. He did not know. All he saw was a giant wall, which was the back to the reservoir. The truck had been moved about 6 miles from its previous location. Woods did not recall driving there or how he possibly got there. When he exited the truck, he noticed there were no tire tracks around the truck. It was as if the truck had been airlifted, then dropped in the new location. Wing Security Control was trying to locate Woods, but he wasn't able to help them. He hadn't remembered anything that happened for the past 4 hours. The security team using triangling to pinpoint his location. About 20 minutes later, they found him. Woods tried to wake up Johnson, but he still remained unconscious. So with help from the team, they moved him to the passenger side. Woods asked what was going on, but the security team told him they could not answer any of his questions. The team made Woods surrender his weapon. He was then instructed to follow their truck back to the base. He was then taken for a debriefing by Captain Jack Reed and Rich Doty, alleged members of the security team called the Men in Black. They started questioning Woods, but he could not answer the questions because he did not remember. He told them he had blacked out for 4 hours. He was then told to sign a non-disclosure by Reed and Doty. They then sent him to the hospital. They wanted him to speak and be examined by a doctor. The doctor during the exam noticed burn marks on both his hands and his face, so they tried a skin sample. According to Lou Elizondo, Woods was subject to biological effects, which is now considered one of the observables, named the 6th observable. A couple of weeks go by when Johnson showed up at Woods' door. He wanted to talk about what happened that night. Neither could recall very much. Johnson was still terrified. He still couldn't recall what happened that night. Woods never saw Johnson again. He just disappeared. Woods needed some answer. He was having trouble sleeping, and the missing 4 hours was having a profound effect on him. Woods decided to seek help. He found a psychiatrist who would use regressive hypnosis to try and recover what happened during the missing time. Woods laid in his bed, terrified, crying, and shaking. He then described the 4 small aliens who wore gray uniforms. The ugly, scary, tall alien looked menacing, dressed in what appeared to be an officer's uniform. He is still traumatized and has nightmares 40 years later. Whistleblower Mario Woods testified under oath to ARROW, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. He described in great detail what happened to him over 40 years ago. He was not alone. Fellow nuclear officers from the Air Force bases around the country also testified similar experiences to Arrow. The compelling testimony has led to the Air Force to conduct further research. The amount of visits over nuclear bases has been steadily increasing. There are stories in this book of incidents of aliens over other bases in Minute, in North Dakota, Maelstrom in Montana, Rendlesham Forest in England, and other Air Force bases unknown to the general public. The government had closed down Project Blue Book, stating they didn't see any serious threats posed by these UFOs because they had not yet admitted the truth. How can high-ranking military officials, scientists, and other intelligence experts claim they don't pose a serious threat? The aliens prove they could control the nukes at these bases. They have shut down and disabled the nukes, put them into launch mode, or have them inoperable. What happens if the aliens accidentally launch one nuke towards Russia? Do you think who's ever in charge in Russia is going to believe it's an accident that was caused by aliens? Why have the aliens been over these nuclear bases? What really is their ultimate goal? So ponder this question. The government finally does admit there are aliens. Do they really know what the aliens want? Maybe this is why the government thinks this news would panic the public. This is Bedtime Stories. This story is Mario Wood's abduction. Good evening. This is Ken Sylvester. The story you just heard is from my best-selling book, We're Not Alone, and here's the proof. My book has 40 top UFO stories on sightings, landings, and alien abductions. Many books have been written on these top 40 alien encounters. However, in this book, I've added new information obtained from top-secret government documents, deathbed confessions, whistleblower testimony given to Congress, retired pilots, both commercial and military, confessions after they retired. New witnesses, previous witnesses scared to testify after being threatened by the men in black, and much more confessions never published before. I wrote this book for two reasons. First, to give you proof that aliens do indeed exist, and to do fundraising for cancer research. I will donate 65% of the profits to cancer research in honor of my daughter Amber, who passed away 8 years ago from breast cancer at age 32. So by reading this book, you can explore if you believe that aliens do indeed exist and help others who are suffering and dying from cancer. You'll find my book different from other UFO books, which can take from 300 to 500 pages to tell a story. I do this by short stories with just the facts from each one minus the 400 pages of backstory. Easy reading and hard to put down once you start. This is a great read for newcomers and skeptics who are just starting to explore UFOs and aliens. Go on Amazon, put in the title of the book, We're Not Alone and Here's the Proof, by Ken Sylvester. Explore the details. You won't be disappointed. Thank you for listening tonight. We will post every Friday night at midnight and Saturday at 3 p.m. a new story on our YouTube channel. Search by typing the Believe Me movement and find Ken and Robin's Bedtime Stories. Also on Friday and Saturday, hear live stories as our listeners call in and share their encounters with aliens. These stories will blow your mind. Over and out.